Gopal, 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 Govardhanadhar Gopal, 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 Govardhanadhar Gopal, Chita Chora Yashodha ke Bal, Navanita Chora Gopal, Chita Chora Yashodha ke Bal, Navanita Chora Gopal, Navanita Chora Gopal, Navanita Chora Gopal.
సిరిమానోత్సవం రోజు పట్టణంలో లాక్డౌన్ అమలు చేయబడుతుంది. షాపులన్నీ మూసివేయబడతాయి.
Chita Chora Yashodha ke Bal, Navanita Chora Gopal, Chita Chora Yashodha ke Bal, Navanita Chora Gopal. Mahesha, Jagadisha, Mahesha, Isha, Mahesha, Jagadisha, Mahesha, Hara Hara Shankara Samba Sada Shiva Isha, Mahesha, Hara Hara Shankara Samba Sada Shiva Isha, Mahesha, Pandava Kriya Hara Chandra Kaladhara Isha, Mahesha, Pandava Kriya Hara Chandra Kaladhara Isha, Mahesha, Ambasutta Lambodharangita Isha, Mahesha, Ambasutta Lambodharangita Isha, Mahesha, Tunga Himachal Tunga Nivasita, Tunga Himachal Tunga Nivasita, Isha, Mahesha, Hara Hara Shankara Samba Sada Shiva Isha, Mahesha. Hara Shankara Samba सदा शिव ईशा महेशा ईशा महेशा जगदीशा महेशा ईशा महेशा जगदीशा महेशा राम नमो राम नमो श्री कृष्ण राम नमो राम नमो राम नमो श्री कृष्ण जानकी वल्लभ राम नमो जानकी वल्लभ राम नमो रुक्मिणी वल्लभ कृष्ण नमो रुक्मिणी वल्लभ कृष्ण नमो राम नमो राम नमो राम नमो श्री कृष्ण राम नमो राम नमो राम नमो श्री कृष्ण नंदन राम नमो दशरथ नंदन राम नमो वसुदेवानंदन कृष्ण नमो वसुदेवानंदन कृष्ण नमो राम नमो राम नमो राम नमो श्री कृष्ण राम नमो राम नमो राम नमो श्री कृष्ण राम धन राम नमो रावण मर्दन राम नमो कंस विमर्दन कृष्ण नमो कंस विमर्दन कृष्ण नमो राम नमो राम नमो राम नमो श्री कृष्ण राम नमो राम नमो राम नमो श्री कृष्ण मर्दन राम नमो ताटकी मर्दन राम नमो मर्दन कृष्ण नमो मुदन मर्दन कृष्ण नमो राम नमो राम नमो राम नमो श्री कृष्ण राम नमो राम नमो राम नमो श्री कृष्ण राम नमो दीन दयाला राम नमो दीन रक्षक कृष्ण नमो दीन रक्षक कृष्ण नमो राम नमो राम नमो राम नमो श्री कृष्ण राम नमो राम नमो राम नमो श्री कृष्ण सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We will chant Bhagavad Gita verses 55 to 65. श्रीभगवानुवाच प्रजहाति यथा कामान् सर्वान् पार्थमनोगतान् आत्मन्येवात्मना तुष्टः स्थितप्रज्ञस्तदोच्यते दुःखेष्वनुद्विग्नमनाः सुखेषु विगतस्पृहः वीतरागभयक्रोधः स्थितधीर्मुनिरुच्यते यः सर्वत्रानभिस्नेहः तत्तत्प्राप्य शुभाशुभम् नाभिनन्दति न द्वेष्टि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता यदा संहरते चायम् कूर्मोऽङ्गानीव सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रसवर्ज्यं रसोऽप्यस्य परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते यततो ह्यपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसीत मत्परः वशे हि यस्येन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः सङ्गस्तेषुपजायते सङ्गात् सञ्जायते कामः कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशः बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति रागद्वेषवियुक्तैस्तु विषयानिन्द्रियैश्चरन् आत्मवश्यैर्विधेयात्मा प्रसादमधिगच्छति प्रसादे सर्वदुःखानां हानिरस्योपजायते प्रसन्नचेतसो ह्याशु बुद्धिः पर्यवतिष्ठते. In the previous class, we have covered the 61 verse, which is talking about the senses control and mind control, which is basic necessity, a prerequisite for meditation and further into enlightenment. So, the perfect human being who is able to control his senses and mind is the person who is stable, mind is peaceful, agitation less. Then such a mind which is free from agitations and mental disturbances is qualified to sit in the seat of meditation, which is the recent yajna, Bhagavad Gita yajna also. We have heard thoroughly that what is the entire chapter talking about, the yoga of meditation, dhyana yoga. So, dhyana yoga, the meditation, the whole world is completely sold by this word meditation without preparation. So, the only preparation is you must have to bring your physical body, senses, and mind under perfect control over the governing intellect, so that it is natural state of calm, composed, serene, tranquil mind. If you achieve such a state of mind, is only eligible to practice meditation or to sit meditation. So meditation is an effect, it is not the cause, it is the effect of what you practiced already. So, by earlier practices of karma, selfless action, bhakti, devotion, and jnana, the the study of scriptures, the study and devotion and action. If you practice these three thoroughly, then you are having that state of mind as an effect to sit in the meditation, and you naturally get to the state of enlightenment. It is an automatic effect. So meditation is not a practice, it is a state of mind you achieve by the earlier practices of spiritual disciplines thoroughly. The yajnam, the selfless action, and devotion, the divinity, splash of divinity recognizing in every aspect of the world is the devotion, and you have to practice the devotion, and you have to study every day in the morning the scriptural knowledge what we are studying. These three practices, if you continue for a period of time, then you reduce your bulk of desires, you reduce your bulk of vasanas, and with the few desires and vasanas your mind gets to the state of renunciation, such a state of mind which is completely free from the agitations and the attractions of the world, and you keep the mind in single pointed thought to the exclusion of all other thoughts is the meditation, and then the enlightenment follows. So this is what the 61st 61 mantra, this verse emphasizes the control of the senses as that of preparation necessary to thus calm the mind. It highlights the requirement by defining a man of perfection. A human being is only perfect. It is not that a person become perfect in any field. It is a perfection is his inner state of evolution. Perfection as one of the person who is mastered his senses, controlled his senses and the mind. Now we get on to the 62nd and 63rd verses together. We will chant. ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः सङ्गस्तेषुपजायते सङ्गात् सञ्जायते कामः कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशः बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. So the verses 61 and 62, these two is describing such a person who is not followed the practices and not brought the senses and the mind under the control of the intellect. If the mind is let loose and the senses are completely let loose, such a person, how he falls. It is called ladder of fall. How a human being falls and ultimately perishes. These two verses are describing. So the verses 62, 63 together explain the fall of a human being. How a human being, such a great master of the universe, is given the opportunity to reach the highest state, is incapable of maintaining that, following that, and getting into this deplorable condition is because of the lack of practice of this two verses of mind and senses control totally gone. Such a person is going to deteriorate is explained in these two verses. The universal lack of spiritual fulfillment. Spiritual fulfillment, spiritual satisfaction, spiritual contentment means you are supposed to understand, realize that you have the self within, the Atman, the God principle. This self, the Atman, is complete, fulfilled, satisfied, whole. WHOLA, whole, complete, all full, whole. It is infinite state. It is the state of supreme peace and bliss, infinite happiness. That is the self within you. You are that self. You are the Atman already. So that is, if you understand that, you are said to be in the state of spiritual fulfillment. The moment you don't understand, you lack the spiritual fulfillment, that causes this fall, which is going to be described now. Due to the lack of spiritual fulfillment, understanding who you are, what is your state of fulfillment. If you are not recognizing that, you are subjected to this fall. Due to the lack of spiritual fulfillment, you feel a sense of void, a sense of emptiness, a sense of unfulfillment, a feeling of incompleteness. You start feeling because of lack of spiritual fulfillment of the Supreme Self within. It is the whole tragedy of every human being today, following this feeling of what? Lack of spiritual fulfillment makes every human being feel a sense of void, emptiness, unfulfillment in life. All through your life you will feel that. Every human being you see is running after this world, mad rush because of lack of spiritual fulfillment. However much life brings your way, it doesn't matter what is your status in the world, what is your position, what is your achievement, whatever you gain in this life, if you have this void, you always feel a sense of emptiness, the lack of fulfillment of spiritual completeness. How much life brings your way, you still feel something missing, something lacking, something unfulfillment, something you need, something which within you feel a emptiness, a void, an incompleteness, a feeling of incompleteness, unfulfillment, dissatisfaction. constantly haunting you. It will never leave you, irrespective of whatever your achievements in the world. To fulfill that void, to fill that incompleteness, to fill that emptiness within you, you start thinking, this is the problem. Everybody is already in the problem. What is that? You start thinking of worldly objects and beings, or worldly matters, or worldly things. It could be wealth. You may feel that void may project a manifest that you may lack the financial things, material things, or the void may manifest into a person who is not having a life partner, or that emptiness, that something missing may push you towards, I don't have knowledge of the worldly subjects, I don't have PhD, I don't have position, I want to be CEO, I don't have that. So constantly you think about the worldly objects and beings. It could be name, it could be fame, it could be power, it could be position, it could be status, it could be money, or it could be family. Something or other, the mind starts thinking of the worldly objects and beings as a means to do so, to satisfy this feeling of emptiness. This thinking of the worldly things causes the fall. The fall of human being is the thinking about the world of objects and beings. And this thinking causes the fall. To avoid this falling, to avoid this deterioration, collapsing, your intellect must scrutinize, your intellect must analyze, judge, accept or reject every thought of every object or being. Whatever your intellect you have, you must scrutinize the mind's thoughts which are rushing towards the world. Your intellect must scrutinize, because your mind flowing towards the world, thinking about various objects and beings. Your intellect must scrutinize, examine every thought and idea, every feeling, every action, whatever, where they are going, what is that mind is feeling. You judge and you accept or reject. You should execute the choice of action. Choice is there with the human being only. So you should exercise the choice to accept or reject, to entertain the thought of the mind further, or to dismiss the thought. That must be exercised by the intellect. If not, the mind's thinking will leads to fall, which is these two verses are highlighting and emphasizing and cautioning. It is a red alert. It is a greatest caution, warning. It's a dangerous thing going to happen is that these two verses, how the human being is going to collapse, fall and perish, ultimately destroy himself. Just spiritual unfulfillment leads to this collapse, and nobody is understanding this. Very, very sad. If your intellect fails to do so, if your intellect does not scrutinize every thought, every feeling, every action, if you indiscriminately entertain and retain the thought of an object or being within your mind, then starts a thin stream of thoughts, few thoughts collected towards that object or being. This thin stream of thoughts will grow out of that initial thought and flow towards that object. this initial thought flow connecting you to the object is called attachment. That's what dhyayato vishayan pumsaha. It is the starting point. The moment you think about any object or being, the initial small streak of thoughts, a thin streak of thoughts is called, what is that called? Attachment. That means when that object is there, you are comfortable. When your object is not there, you are discomfortable, uncomfortable. You feel discomfort. This is called you already got into attachment. If you see some people, they have a company, they are happy. If they don't have company, they are unhappy, miserable. The wife is there, smiling, they are happy. Wife is not there, they are unhappy. Or something, or object or being. They are constantly depending on objects and beings because their initial attachment is established with that objects and beings. Because of earlier indiscriminate thought flow they have entertained and retained in their minds. Continuing to nurture and nourish the thought flow, thought of that object further strengthens the thought flow. The more you think about those thoughts and desires, the thoughts which you are attached with, the more stream of thought, powerful thought flow, a powerful indiscriminate thought flow emerges if you retain the initial attachment. Continuing to nurture and nourish. You keep on nurturing and nourishing and ruminating and thinking about those thoughts. What will happen? The thicker stream of thought flow, a substantial power of thought flow starts. That existing thought flow gets strengthened. The thoughts develop into more substantial and forceful stream. That torrential flow of thoughts from you to that object is called, this stage is called the desire. The desire is nothing but a forceful, a bundle of thoughts which are very strong, which you entertained in the past as an initial attachment. You start nurturing those thought flow. The thoughts develop into more substantial and forceful stream, a big flood of the thoughts flowing from you to the object. That is the desire. Kama, the desire starts flowing from you. So that's why the people have millions and millions of desires. Means how much they are having forceful, powerful thought flows within their mind. At this stage, attachment develops into a desire. And desire, therefore, is a thicker stream of thoughts flowing from you towards an object or being or anything worldly. If it is a powerful thought flow in the past you entertained, that becomes a desire. Say, many people have a desire. What is the desire? Desire for name, desire for fame, desire for power, desire for position, desire for status. Desire, this is like a powerful desire. If you talk about that, if you interact with them, if you want, they will be agitated because it is a very, very powerful, especially desire for family, desire for friends, desire for all sorts of habits. So they get into all sorts of powerful desires because of earlier flood of thoughts of constantly nurtured and nourished in their mind in the past because of indiscriminate entertainment of the without intellect application in the past. The damage is already done. So then the desire gets into the system. Desire is therefore a thicker stream of, what is the desire? Definition of a desire. Desire nothing but a thicker stream of thoughts. A thicker stream of thoughts flowing from you towards an object is called a desire. Kamaha. If another object or being interrupts this desire, suppose you love your thoughts going to an object called Elizabeth, a person, a being called Elizabeth. Your powerful thoughts are going towards an object or a person. If another object or being interrupts this thought flow, this thought flow deflects into that object or being as an anger. Anger is nothing but a refracted, deflected thought current, which is the desire. Desire is deflected desire. Refracted desire is called, towards that interruption, is called anger. You can never get anger. You can never become angry until and unless you are a slave to a desire inside you. So you must verify which desire you are slave, you are caught up, to understand what is the need of getting angry. You need a powerful intellect to understand this anger management. Whole world is talking about anger, without understanding what is the root cause of the anger. No angry person can become calm, because anger cannot be controlled directly. It is a very, very unfortunate. Anger cannot be controlled directly. You can control the desire which is causing the anger. The moment you control the desire, the anger is completely under control. So this is the root cause. The root cause of the anger is desire. Here is a great example, beautiful example already provided for how the anger is instigated, manifested. If another object or being interrupts this desire, this flow, your thoughts become deflected towards that interruption. These deflected thought currents are called anger. So a simple example illustrates this truth. Consider Tom loves Elizabeth. A thick stream of his thoughts flows constantly towards Elizabeth. Then John comes into the picture and threatens Tom's previously clear field with Elizabeth. This consequently deflects Tom's thoughts flow towards the John. Tom develops anger for John. So this just a deflected thought current. You have to question what are all the desires I have, and whenever these desires get interrupted, you bound to become angry. So intercepted by any object or being. Anger is thus a modification of a desire or attachment. So if you are above the desire, if you are grown out of the desire, you have a command over desire, control over desire, anger never come and disturb you. You can never become angry. So anger cannot arise without a desire. To permanently remove your anger, eradicate your anger from your system, you need to locate the desire which is causing the anger and permanently eliminate it by education, growth, and knowledge, by understanding of higher values of gaining the self-development, self-unfoldment, the growth in the personality. You never become angry henceforth. So it all boils down to you have to eradicate the desire to control eradicate the anger in you. So the greater the desire interrupted, the greater will be the anger arising out of it. So intensity of the anger depends upon the intensity of the desire. If the desire is too strong, you may get into anger mode, and you may destroy yourself with the anger. You get blood pressure, blood sugar, heart attack, bypass. Anything can happen because of too much anger. which the body cannot take it anymore. So it all boils down to the intensity of the desire, intensity of the anger. So when your anger mounts up more and more, the more and more anger, what it will leads to? You lose the control of the mind. You lose your awareness, control of the mind. Mind takes over completely the personality. You become eccentric, that emotional, eccentric, hysterical, insane, total lose of the control of the mind. You may become insane. There are states of mind based on the control of the intellect over the mind. If the mind has got 75%, intellect is 75% and mind is 25%, you are called in the state of emotional category. You are oscillated, tossed by emotions. If the intellect is dropped by 50% within you and mind is taken over 50%, you become eccentric. This is what you see in the whole world. Eccentric means you are very, very rough, rude, ruthless. You are not able to control your mind, vulgar, shouting, screaming, every, harsh, all the words, shouting, all these things will happen in the eccentric, means your intellect dropped 50%. Your mind is took over your personality 50%. When you go further, when the intellect further dropped to 25% only available, 75% gone, mind takes over your personality 75%, you become hysterical. Hysterical means involuntary movements, means your body movements, your blood pressure, your hands and legs start moving involuntarily. Means you may hit, you may kill, you may do stab, you may do anything. Hysterical person, hysteria is a disease. So vibrations, you go through some kind of physical movement, involuntary movements. We call it convulsions. Body gets into convulsive movements. That is called hysteria disease, we say. Then comes ultimately when you don't have control over the mind, zero intellect, then you are called insane. Insane means you are mad. Your society will not live anymore to survive. They will bring the vehicle and pack your bags and take you to the asylum, mental hospital, because you are not allowed to live anymore in the society. Such person is called insane. It all depends upon where you stand your intellect. So here is the mind is more and more, desires increasing, intellect is reducing drastically, you desire more and more, your anger is increased more and more, then you become deluded. You lose yourself in delusion. The damage does not stop there. The more and more anger, you become delusion, which is called moha. Moha is a further stage of when the anger is mounting more and more, you get into delusion. This delusion leads to loss of memory. So when you are deluded, you lose the memory. Memory means you lose your identity, you lose your awareness, you lose who you are, what you are, where you are, how you are. Complete loss of memory is the more and more delusion. Delusion will take you to that state and you forget what is right and what is wrong. You forget the discriminating power. Intellect is gone. What is good and bad, you don't know the difference. You forget your position, your obligatory duties, and your relationship with the world completely gone because you lost the memory. So, loss of memory further leads you to the ultimately loss of intellect. So, your intellect is completely gone, and once the intellect is gone, when your intellect is gone, what is follows is you destroy yourself. You literally kill yourself by your own actions. This is what the tragedy of every human being who is not aware of what is happening within you, the mechanics of human life. Human mechanism must be understood and immediately practiced to gain this mastery. The everything starts from the very beginning of spiritual fulfillment is lacking. Today, what is lacking? Spiritual fulfillment. Everybody has everything except one greatest disease of greatest human being. Everybody is suffering from what? Spiritual fulfillment, the complete fulfillment, total satisfaction of the Supreme Self within. The Self is lost today. Your Supreme Self, which is the state of peace and bliss of infinite good, your Godhead within you, you have obliterated, discarded, and you are not aware of that disease. And what happened? The lack of that fulfillment, completion, satisfaction, lack of unfulfillment, incompleteness leads to a void within. That emptiness, that void makes you think about the world. This thinking towards the world, the mind's thoughts starts towards the objects and beings, is the cause of the fall of human being. The entire fall begins there, and then ultimately the fall leads to destroying himself. So it is a step by step. So what has to be done? At least at this moment, what is the current state? Every human being is at the stage of millions and millions of desires, vasanas, and every human being is constantly has got the mind which is rushing towards the desires of the objects and beings, and you have been provided the intellect, the equipment of intellect. So what has to be done? Constantly scrutinize every thought of the mind, every desire of the mind. So these thoughts which are coming and rushing towards the object and being, if you analyze, if you scrutinize and dismiss them or accept them based on the rational analysis, if they are fine, if they are controlled or governed by intellect, you are fine, you are safe. If the intellect is absent and the mind is indiscriminately retaining and entertaining these thoughts, then the initial attachment established. This initial thought flow is called attachment. So the moment you nurse and nourish these thoughts further, the thicker stream of thoughts develop, that is called the desire. And this desire is the flood of thoughts rushing towards the objects and beings of the world because of retaining, entertaining, without application of the intellect in the mind indiscriminately. That is the further desires develop more and more. These desires modify themselves into anger because of the desires always rush towards the world, but always world has a variety of objects and beings. They always have interruptions, interceptions. These desires deflect towards those interruptions and you become angry, and this anger more and more mounted up, you get into the state of delusion. confusion. This is the state of delusion, leads to loss of memory. This dhyayato vishayan pumsaha, when you are thinking, ruminating the objection beings, then sangasteshu upajayate, sangaha, attachment starts building. Sangat sanjayate kamaha. This attachment of the objection beings, this initial thought flow, because you are retaining them, entertaining them without scrutinizing with the intellect and dismissing them or accepting them and completing them with the intellect, you are indiscriminately cultivating, nurturing, nourishing, leads to sangat sanjayate kamaha, the desire forms. That's how the desires are established in human being. Today, millions of desires are controlling human being because of the entertainment and retaining the thought flow indiscriminately in the mind. Then comes these desires modified into anger because of interruptions come in the path of fulfillment of these desires. Then these modification of desires called the anger mounting up, you get the state of delusion, moha, because you lose your memory, you lose your confused state, you do not know what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad, you do not know where are you, what are you, how are you, your intellect application completely gone. That's what happened to what? Ravanasura. He got the best women of the world from the heavens. He kept them in the harem, but he is angry so much. He lost the memory. He wanted the God's consort, Lord Rama's consort, the goddess Sita. He was aiming at, and that is the fall of his life. He is not able to, be in the senses, intellect completely gone, he lost his memory. So, in fact, there was a clearly mentioned by his wife, Ravanasura's wife, Mandodari is told, and the great assistants of Ravanasura, the Maricha and others who were keep advising to Ravanasura's the great valor and strength and what are the consequences of entertaining such thoughts of trying to possess the goddess Sita is deadly for him, is proven to be a killer for him. They advised him, but he lost the memory because he caught up in the delusion, that moha. Today, what is that? Every human being is in condition of moha, maya, the complete delusion. What is real, what is unreal, what is good, what is bad, completely gone. They are hugging on to, pursuing, hanging on to the what is deadly for them, and not at all given any importance to what is beneficial, what is elevating, what is what is invigorating, energizing, life-giving. They are discarding. What is that? The study of Vedanta, the gaining knowledge of the inner soul, inner spirit, the Atma Vidya. They don't want. They want all the world except the self-knowledge. Therefore, they are in delusion state today. And this delusion leads to the loss of memory. Therefore, nobody has any memory about anything. You talk to anybody. Do you remember? No, sir, I have met you 100 years, 10 years back, 20 years back. I forgot who are you. Because they are caught up in the world so deeply, they lose their memory, they lose their objectivity, they lose their personality, they lose themselves. Totally in this quagmire of this world of objects and beings and suffer. This is the loss of memory. What is the right, what is wrong, what is good, they forget everything. What is the root? Where are you? Who are you? How did you start? The moment little power comes, little position comes, they caught up in that power and position, lose their own source or root cause. How did they start? They get developed ego, arrogance, all the other things will come. They don't have any fundamentals. What they are from, where they are, they don't know. Who is the guru? Who is God? Who are the parents? Where did he start? Everything they lost because of little bit of achievements in the world of delusion. The name, fame, power, position, whatever they achieve, they build arrogance, they build egoistic, they build their own empire of imagination, and they start comparing everybody. That's what their inferiority complex or superiority complex they are getting into. I am better than you. I am bigger than you. I am in better status. That I am, and comparison starts. And then you get into these modifications of desires. What are they? Jealousy, envious towards those people who are above you, and arrogance, proud towards the people who are less than you. When you compare people who are less than your status or position, you become arrogant. I know better than you. I have more money better than you. I am richer than you. I have more power. I have more fan following. I have more talent. I have more degrees. I have more cars, houses, whatever may be. You start arrogance you develop, or you develop inferiority, jealousy, envy, comparing with the high people. You think I don't have anything, I am poor, I am weak, I am this thing. Inferiority complex or superiority complex you get into because of your deluded state. You lost the memory of what you are, where you are, who you are. The total delusion and loss of memory leads to loss of intellect. The moment you develop intellect, you start respecting. I am a human being. I have a God within. I have to pursue the self. And I have a gurus. I have a parents. I have friends. I have relatives. I have everything. You see the things as they are. And do your obligatory duties to the best of your ability, consistently, continuously, with the humble and surrender attitude to the cause of the Supreme God, and then function with confidence and courage, with the positive sattvic qualities. You start building them only if you are able to exercise and develop your intellect. When you don't have intellect, you get into disease of desire, and desires take you to the delusion, and the delusion leads to the fear and anger. Fear also, the moment you have more and more delusion, you start achieving things of money, name, fame, power, position, status from the world. You get some bracket of everything, some amount of achievements. You start entertaining fear of losing them. A rich person, a person who got big bank balance, he always is scared of his own wealth. Who will come and steal the money? Perhaps his son-in-law takes entire money. That's what he feels all the time, sleepless nights. Poor fellow will be sleeping happily in the room. He has no money, therefore poor person always sleeps. Rich fellow who has no sleep because who will steal the money, who will take away his money. So most of the rich people suffer sleeplessness and insomnia because of the possessiveness and fear they entertain every level. It could be name, fame, power, position, fear of losing them. What they will think about me, what are they are talking about me, who are all praising me, who are all criticizing me, all the time focus on what what others think about, what others worry about you all the time, you are worry about them. That is called fear of losing what you possess, what you have. This is another additional problem of modification of desires. So this will lead you to the agitations and ultimately lose your memory. Further lose your, this delusion leads to the loss of intellect. So what is good, what is bad, you forget your position, your obligations. As a human being, you have an obligations towards this country. As a son of a father, you have an obligation to your father. After certain stage, you forget your father, mother in the busy of running after this world, only in the postcard or in the distance mode, in the video charts you do towards your own mother and father. Deluded people today. No father, no mother. You forget everything about your obligations. Your father of a son or son of your father, your husband for a wife to an husband, your friend to a friend, you are a citizen. Millions of roles you have as an obligatory duty. You must execute them to the best of your ability all the time. You cannot escape from obligatory duties, but you forget all your obligatory duties because of delusion, loss of memory. The moment you marry, raise a family, you discard your own parents, your own relatives, your own people. You have no connection with them. Very sad. You are a universal being. You are a human being. You are connected to every person from the day when you are born. You are connected to the world. You have an obligatory duties to everybody, including your guru and your God. You lose everything because of the delusion, loss of memory. You forget your position in this universe. Irrespective of whatever your achievements, you are a human being. As a human being, you are bound, you are supposed to know your obligatory duties and responsibilities as a human being. Your relationship with the world, you must scrutinize and analyze and execute those obligatory duties. But you lose it, lost the memory. And further leads you to the loss of intellect. Therefore, you lose the intellect. You get attached, you get particular weaknesses, you develop, you get caught up in the particular compartments. I am this caste, I am this community, I am this religion, I am this, group, I am this friends, I am this relations, I am attached to. All sorts of diseases you develop, and whole life you are in the frog in the well. You lose yourself, running after lopsided personality, totally bound by the delusion and loss of memory, forgetting your obligation, duties, and your position and your relationship with the world. This will lead you to the loss of intellect. Intellect is lost. And when your intellect is lost, the destruction is complete. You destroy yourself. You kill yourself. That's what happened to the great Ravanasura. He destroyed, he killed himself. Your personality totally destroyed. Once your intellect is gone, you destroy yourself. Therefore, indiscriminate entertainment of a thought can bring about the degradation and destruction of a human being. One indiscriminate thought, one unintelligent, indiscriminate, not scrutinized thought, like I want to kill somebody, the thought has come. If you entertain the thought, if you retain the thought without analyzing, you are finished. Similarly, I want to burgle a bank, or I wanted to anything, I want to jump from the tower. Any thought comes, you go by the thought without intellectual analysis, scrutiny. you will lose yourself to the destruction, degradation, and complete loss of yourself. So, therefore, what is that? Indiscriminate entertainment. Any indiscriminate entertainment of the thought can bring about degradation and destruction of a human being. Trace back, and people who destroyed and people who are degraded themselves, question that. How did that happen? Because of indiscriminate entertainment of the thought, lack of application of the strong intellect on the analysis of the thought, accept or reject based on the rational analysis of the intellect, application of the intellect, they destroyed themselves. The momentum of indiscriminate thought flow is very much like water flowing in a river. It's easily understood. The indiscriminate thought flow is compared to the river flowing. Flow of water is called thought flow. Desires flow. The desires are compared all the time with the water flowing in the river. The momentum. It is all indiscriminate thought flow in your mind. Morning, noon and night, whole life they are coming out. The river Ganga begins its course at the peak of Himalayas. The river Ganga river, Ganges, we call it river Ganges. The Ganga starts from the source. If you go back to the root of that mountains, where it starts from the initial droplets. Drops from this rock, drops from that rock, collected slowly becomes a small streak of thoughts, water, and flowing slowly gets collected and gathered, becomes slow, small flow of thought, flow of water. So the river Ganga begins course at the peak of the Himalayas, the source of the great river, incredibly insignificant. Trickles of water here and there gather together to form a small stream. A small stream in Ganga river, it is a small stream descending the mountain. From the mountain, when it comes to plains, valleys, it gathers the momentum. The more and more stream it thickens. Gradually down the valleys, it gathers more and more momentum, reaching plains. If you see in the plain, it's a torrential flow of flood of water, mass of water, a vast sheet of water. That much water, initially it is just a drops here and there collected. That is the beginning. Similarly, the mind also, initially it's an indiscriminate thought flow here and there. The moment you entertain, retain, and you add on to that, nursing and nourishing could become a river of thought flow indiscriminately. Such is your mind and its thought flow. Your intellect must supervise. Your intellect must supervise every thought and avoid unnecessary thought flow. Never allow any indiscriminate thought flow, undesirable thought flow, the thought flow which is not useful, beneficial for your growth towards the self-development or self-realization. You must reject and dismiss them, and don't allow the mind to retain or entertain the thoughts. Failing which your mind can develop into tremendous force. If you don't do that, it will develop into mind develops thought flow into tremendous force and too great for your intellect. After some time, it becomes too strong for your intellect to control it. Your mind then takes its own course, leading to your personality ruin. That's what Ravana, after some time, the desire is too high, the thought flow is too high, his own intellect is not having capacity to control it. That's what people get into addictions, habits, and all sorts of extreme attachments, and they say, I can't do anything, I can't do this, they say. They get smoking, they get drinking, they get gambling, they get all sorts of bad habits and gets addicted, and it's too late for the intellect to come in and control them, and ultimately they destroy themselves. This is the sad state of affairs, how the intellect lacking will destroy them. All starts with the spiritual unfulfillment. The moment you understand and gain the knowledge of the fulfillment of this spiritual development, you are free, you are in the right track, and you are not allowing any indiscriminate thought flow, and your intellect starts developing within, and you save yourself and you save the world. Thank you very much. We'll continue with the 64th mantra verses in the next class. Hari Om.